how Asian markets have started 2026, how they're dealing with the latest geopolitical headlines. It's really interesting, Paul, to see that stocks are rallying here in Europe. It's defence names. It's also tech. Over in Asia, tech getting a lot of the gains. If this really was about a geopolitical re-evaluation and that pushed defence names higher, you'd think that maybe TSMC wouldn't be doing quite so well today, and yet it is. So clearly there is a lot of focus on the tech themes beyond geopolitics.
Yeah, definitely plenty of momentum there. Actually started at the back end of last week. The first day of trading in Asia was particularly strong as well. We had the Samsung CEO saying Samsung is back, and that was enough to lift the stock about 7% that day. We had a new company trading, BRUN, which is a chip designer, and that went flying higher in Hong Kong as well. You know, the market just gathering a lot of momentum. So we've got big gains again across the Kospi, and for Samsung, SK Hynix, those big names in the chip space, and particularly TSMC, which is such a huge part of the Asia index, really leading the rally. We have Goldman Sachs, as Tom was talking about, with that upgrade, talking about margins coming down, plenty of demand still fueling the rally in the company. And, you know, in addition to that, it's not just about Asia, but also because TSMC is such a big part of the emerging markets gauge, we've also seen that go to a record high today, which is quite an interesting development, beating the last record, which was 5 years ago.
Paul, how much of today's market action can I pin on Venezuela?
I think very little, to be honest, Guy. My sort of sense is that, if anything, the market is kind of taking this as a reasonably positive development. Let me explain a little bit, because obviously the action is quite shocking in terms of how direct it was and unexpected. But on the flip side of that, you know, the fact that the equity market is up. In fact, each time that Trump seems to do one of these foreign expeditions or you know, actions, the market tends to rally on it rather than sell off it. So it seems like the market, you know, is buying into the action that the Trump administration is taking to try to reshape the world a little bit, and taking heart from it, rather than expecting there to be some big escalation that causes a long-term risk-off or hurt to the economy.
Paul, so given that, what derails this rally?
Yeah, so I think, well, if there were to be a dramatic escalation and more people were to come to sort of Venezuela's defences, then that may complicate matters in the short term. I think, you know, at the end of this week we have non-farm payrolls, so obviously the Fed will come back into consideration to a certain extent. And then, you know, the continuing concerns over the tech bubble. We get a lot of debt sales this week. I wonder how well they'll go and what that will tell us about demand for credit going into this year. But otherwise, it seems like the market is pretty happy with the direction that it's trading in at the moment, and that momentum is continuing to push through. You know, one of the best starts to the years for stock markets that we've seen in over a decade, I think. So plenty of momentum still going there.